Steve Melfi along with Brian Novak from Memorial Stadium on the campus of Clarion University. 3rd down and 20. Ball resting on the 27-yard line. IUP on a drive, but the Golden Eagles defense has tough, and they come on a blitz again. Woods to the end zone, and it's knocked away by number 30. Brad Klein comes up with a great defense for the Golden Eagles. Jerome Smith was there for a second, but number 30, Brad Klein, does an excellent job to knock the ball away, bringing up a 4th down for the Indians.
Well, Scott Woods hung that ball just a little too much, enabling Brad Klein to come back and make a spectacular play in his end zone to knock that ball away. So now it forces a 4th and 20 situation, and again, it looks like Frank Signetti is going to go for it. So, big plays, Clarion has come up with them.
The fans are on their feet. 4th down and 20. Woods to throw again. He's under pressure, goes to the end zone, and it's going to be knocked away by, again, number 30, Brad Klein. Brad Klein comes up with 2 superb defensive plays for the Golden Eagles.
I'll tell you what.
On 4th down, the Clarion Golden Eagles hold the IUP Indians and will take over possession at their own 27-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what, this Clarion defense is doing everything they can to keep IUP off the scoreboard. Their backs were against the wall there. Frank Andrews comes over the big play to sack Scott Woods, and now Brad Klein comes up with 2 plays in the end zone to knock away possible touchdowns.
And Brian, they ran the same play they did the previous time, and again Klein was there. They tried to burn Klein deep, and he did not bite. He was there and comes up with 2 superb defensive plays for the Golden Eagles. They take over on their own 27. They run the sweep to Tanini. He comes to the near side. He's crossed the 30 to the 35-yard line. Jay Tanini picks up 8. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 2 for the Golden Eagles.
Well, see, that's the thing about Jay Tanini that I love, Steve. He's the power back up the middle, but also when he sees that daylight, he'll turn upfield and just fire his way forward, and he has very deceiving speed. Reese Brown was able to catch him from behind, but not until Jay Tanini picked up 8 yards.
2nd down and 2. Ball resting at the 35. Harper to the near side. Worthy to the far side. Brown in motion. Tanini and Henry again to split backs. This time Myers throws. Good protection. Goes down the middle. Short hops it intended for his receiver, number 17, Kevin Harper, and number 6, Andre Hiller on the defense. And we talked about at the outset, Brian, the secondary for IUP is their strength. Their defensive line is kind of deceptible because they lost Sledge and they lost Creek this afternoon. So they're not getting pressure on Myers, and with a young secondary, even though that's their strong point, you need to get pressure to the quarterback.
Yeah, and they haven't been able to do that, putting a lot of pressure on that secondary, and number 6, Andre Hilliard, on that last play, did an excellent job to get a hand on that ball.
Myers again, good protection, goes up top, and it's intercepted. Number 9, Tomar Taylor comes up with the interception for the Indians.
Well, that's the 4th play. That's the 4th play that Tomar Taylor's been involved in, big plays. He knocked away to Kevin Harper's pass twice in the end zone. He had that play in the last series for Clarion to knock that ball away from Marlon Worthy. This time, he comes up with the big interception. Tomar Taylor, he got burned at one time. Now he's coming up. He's having a fine game for IUP in that secondary.
Myers throws his 2nd interception of the afternoon. Taylor picks it off for the Indians, and the Indians will take over possession at their own 32-yard line. This time they give it to Mann. Mann some running room up the middle. Takes it close to the 40-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, we talked about it before. The fans here are going crazy. There's a big crowd on hand, and there's also some IUP fans sitting on the Clarion side, and I'll tell you what.
And they're doing a tomahawk chop. We've seen that the past 2 seasons in sports. Florida State does it, the Atlanta Braves does it, the Kansas City Chiefs do it, and right now the IUP Indians are doing it. It's a gain of 5, 2nd down and 5. They give it to Mann again, and he pulls his way up the middle for an IUP 1st down.
Number 96, Clint Persia was on that tackle, but Michael Mann was able to pick up the 1st down. Michael Mann is having a fine day in the backfield for this IUP offensive squad.
Terza comes up to make the stop, but it is enough for an IUP 1st down. 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. Clarion leads 15-7. 1st down and 10 at the 43. They line up in the I again. Harris along with Mann. The pitch is the man. He's across the 40. To the 45-yard line, to the 46.
I'll tell you what,
A gain of 6.
I'll tell you what, Steve. I like what's going on. It seems to me that IUP has pretty much conceded the fact that they won't be able to throw too much on this Clarion defense before they set up the running game. And so now IUP looks like they're forced to run, and this plays into the favor, I think, of Clarion defense. That defensive line is very stingy. They don't like to give up the running plays. Number 77, Carlos Warner, and number 96, Clint Terza, number 97, Chris Haycock, and Eric Accord do not like to be run against. So I think this plays into the Clarion defensive strength.
IUP's offense is very predictable. They'll sometimes line up in the eye, and they'll also line up with what's called a ruptured back. And when you see man line up directly behind the quarterback, and you see Harris line up off tackle on the side of the tight end, they are running to that side, and that's what they have been doing this afternoon. And man, the preseason All-American running back has done an excellent job this afternoon, picking up short yardage and putting IUP in the second down, third down, and short.
Well, I'll tell you what, Clarion is very, very willing to give Michael Mann like the 5- and 6-yard gains. What they don't want to do is let Michael Mann come up and hit him for a big gainer of like 20, 30 yards or the possible long touchdown break that he is capable of running and is capable of getting. If they can hold Michael Mann to about the 3-4 yard gains, I think Clarion is very happy. They do not want to give up that big play. And right now, this defense for Clarion is very stingy, and they are looking to hold IUP again off that scoreboard.
IUP's been knocking on the door here in the second quarter, but the Golden Eagles defense is tightened, and they come on the blitz again. Woods a throw, they pick it up, he goes across the middle, completes it to Smith. Smith some running room, the 30. Finally taken down at the 25-yard line, number 30, Brad Klein stops Smith from an apparent touchdown. He was wide open in the middle of the field, had some running room, and if Klein does not trip him up, it's 6 for the Indians.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is what's happening. Because that running game is now working, they went with the play action fast to stop those the blitzing linebackers, forcing Ponder in on man-to-man coverage with Smith. Ponder slipped on the coverage and letting Smith get up in it before Brad Klein can bring him down. It's 1st and 10, IUP.
To give us a man again, he comes to the near side. A gain of 4, stopped by number 57, Damon Mazup, as well as number 77, Carlos Warner.
We're now into that flex style of defense. Clarion will bend a little bit, but they don't want to break. Again, now with IUP knocking on their own 20 on the Clarion 24-yard line, the Clarion defense is now got to tighten up, and they can't bend too much. So to hold IUP from getting on that scoreboard.
3:15 remaining, second quarter. Man alone setback. Smith to the far side, Smith to the near side, and Carlos Warner drops Woods for a sack. The first man in there. Woods had no chance to get the ball away. Number 77, Carlos Warner.
Well, number 77, Carlos Warner, is a 6'3", 247-pound defensive tackle. He played on the Young Guns line his freshman year. He's played on that defensive line ever since. He's very strong. He's very mobile. And he's the anchor on this Clarion defensive line. He made an excellent play there to bring down Woods to bring up a 3rd and 10 situation.
There's a loss of 5, 3rd down and 10. Woods to throw again. The Golden Eagles put pressure, and it's intended for number 5, Derek Smith, and he completely overthrows him. Number 4, Pat Spann there for the Golden Eagles. But once again, Woods is on his back. The Golden Eagles put tremendous pressure on him, and he had to get it off in a hurry, and it wasn't even close to his intended receiver, Smith.
Well, Carlos Warner again was up the middle, put those licks on Scott Woods, and then he looked at him. He didn't even want to help him up. He just sat down. He said, "That's for me," and he's holding this IUP offense off the scoreboard. Clarion's doing everything they can to mix up their coverages and their plays on defense to keep the IUP off guard.
Once again, IUP inside Clarion's 30-yard line, and they're in a 4th down situation, and they're going to go for it again. Frank Andrews jumping up and down, pointing towards the score clock. It's a delay of game. against IUP.
Well, we said it at the top of our broadcast, Steve, that this game is for all the marbles, and the team that I think that makes the fewest mistakes is going to win this game. Both teams have turnovers, but looking at what I consider dumb mistakes, jumping offside, letting time run out, those are mistakes that you can't afford. Those are mental mistakes, and right now Clarion hasn't made any. IUP has made 3.
They'll march off 5. It'll bring up a 4th down and 15, ball at the 32-yard line. Smith to the near side, White to the far side. Woods to throw again, got plenty of time, goes down the middle, beat it out of the hand, and Sean Spencer lays a lick on Jerome Smith. He almost took his head off, Brian. You talk about a hit. Smith was open. He took his eye off the ball, and Sean Spencer was head-hunting that time.
I'll tell you
and
what.
he knocked him on his back.
I'll tell you what, Jamon Smith is now going to remember anytime he goes into that secondary that Sean Spencer is going to be there. Sean Spencer laid a lick on him that I haven't seen since George Atkinson and John Tatum were back in the Raiders defense and Mel Blount for that Pittsburgh defense. And that was unbelievable.
You talk about one of the biggest hits of the year. That's got to be one of the biggest hits I saw all season. The give is to Tonini. He stays on his feet, does a good job to pick up a yard. And there you get to see a good look at Sean Spencer. And boy, can he hit. We saw him all season in that secondary. And that time,
there's a flag on the play, Steve.
That time, Brian Smith was wide open. He took his eyes off the ball, and it didn't help him. He should have tried to hang on it because Spencer was going to hit him anyway.
I'll tell you what. I think on that play, if Smith would have held on to it, I think Sean Spencer would have stripped that ball from him. That was an unbelievable hit. I haven't seen Sean Spencer hit like that all season. I put him up in the category with George Atkinson and John Tatum, Mel Blount for those great Oakland Raider and Pittsburgh Steelers secondaries way back in the 70s. That was unbelievable.
That ball would have jarred that hit would have jarred the ball loose and almost jarred his head loose. It's a penalty against the Golden Eagles. It'll march them back 10. 1st down and 10. Ball resting at the 23-yard line. Just 2 minutes remaining here in the first half. The Golden Eagles lead 15-7. Quinn to the near side. Harper to the far side. The play clock running down. Myers taking his time. Barely gets it off. The give is to Tonini. Tonini bulls his way across the 25 to the 26-yard line. It's a gain of 3 for the Golden Eagles.
I think what you're going to see now is Clarion is very happy. They're winning this game. They don't want to make any mistakes. I think what you're going to see is Tim Myers run that play clock all the way down to 2 or 1 seconds, and they're going to try to run this timeout and go in at halftime with the 15-7 lead.
They have to be very happy going into the locker room, up 15-7. And it looks to appear that the Golden Eagles want to run out the clock. They have no receivers. They give it to Henry, and Henry's going to pick up a gain of 2, taken down by number 91, Jeff Turnage. And like you said, Brian, they're content to go into the locker room up by 8 points. We have an injured player on the field for the Indians, number 37, Jack Creek. And Creek was one of the players we did not expect to see this afternoon, but as the coach said, if they needed him, he would be in here. And right now, IUP's down, and if they have any hopes of winning this game, they're going to need him in there this afternoon.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a big blow to IUP. Like you said, he is hurt and he was only going to play sparingly. He goes down again now, so that takes out, again, one of the leading tacklers on this IUP defense, number 37, Jack Creech. So he's hurt again, so this is going to be a big blow to IUP.
57 seconds remain here in the first half of play for the PSAC West Championship crown. The Golden Eagles lead by 8. They have a 3rd down and 13. Number 37, Jack Creek, the inside linebacker, shaken up but walks off the field on his own power, and that's a good sign for the Indians.
He's walking off very gingerly here. I don't know if he got hit in the back or where he's hurting, but he's feeling some pain right now. He's walking off very slow, going over to the IUP sideline.
He's walking off on his own power. That's a good sign. 3rd down and 13. Harper to the far side, Quinn to the near side. Henry and Tonini will line up in the backfield. Brown the tight end. Clock continues to run. Under 50 seconds remaining. Myers again takes his time, lets the clock run down. Now Brown goes in motion. They give it to Tonini. He's across the 30 to the 35 where he's taken down by number 2, Reese Brown.
IUP is now calling a timeout, number 44. That's Tony Fallis, the outside linebacker. As soon as Jay Tonini went down, Tony Fallis called the timeout. So Frank Signetti has 30 seconds to work with, and he feels that barring an excellent punt by Tim Myers, he should be able to work the ball down, hopefully maybe get a quick field goal here in that 30 seconds he has to work with. Tim Myers now has to get out an excellent punt and put IUP back deep in their own side of the field.
It was an excellent timeout by Signetti. IUP will set up a chance to try to block Myers' kick. It's 4th down and 7 for the Golden Eagles. And the Indians will send 10 men up on the line. Number 2, Reese Brown, will be back at his own 30 for the Indians. 30 seconds remain. IUP out of timeouts. Clarion has 3 remaining. IUP coming after it. Myers gets it off, gets off a good kick. Brown at his own 30, gets away from 2 tacklers, and fumbles the ball. It's still loose. IUP luckily recovers it, because if Clarion recovers that ball with 3 timeouts remaining, 19 seconds, they would have a couple shots at the end zone and maybe a shot at a field goal. And Brown did an excellent job to recover his own fumble.
And Tim Myers did what he had to do. He put up a high kick, allowing his coverage man to get down there so that Reese Brown couldn't get started and come out with a big return. So now all the pressure again is on the IUP offense.
IUP starts out at their own 33, and they're going to be content to go in the locker room with the score 15-7 to give his demand. Man picks up 9 yards, but we're under 10 seconds remaining. And wisely, Coach Signetti wants to run out the clock, and we've played 1 half here at the PSAC West Championship game, Brian, and Clarion on top. People might be surprised, but I've been doing all Clarion's games this season, and I'm not surprised because this is a very talented team, and they've won 5 in a row. They're one of the hardest teams, and they're showing it this afternoon. They're going right at IUP, not backing down, and they lead 15-7.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, Clarion has nothing to lose, and that's the way they're playing. They know that if they come out and hold IUP and hold that offense, keep them off the field, they have a good chance of winning this game. They are doing that. The Clarion defense is very stingy. They're coming up with some big hits, some big plays, and so now Clarion is in the position to win this game.
The big key so far in the first half is the Clarion defense. Yes, the offense has put 15 points on the board, been able to move the ball, but it's been the inspiration of the defense. They've had Woods on his back all afternoon. They've been blitzing, and they've been hitting, and we saw Sean Spencer almost take off somebody's head in the secondary, and it's been the defense, something that's been kind of a thorn in their side all season long, and they've come up this afternoon and held an explosive IUP offense to only 7 points.
Well, Clarion has traditionally been very strong at the second half of the season. They are showing it. They have 5 wins in a row. They are coming out playing a very strong game against this IUP team, and I'm looking for a very exciting, very hard-hitting, very emotional teams coming out in the second half.
We're at halftime at the PSAC West Championship game. Clarion leads IUP 15-7.